Alright, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope y'all are doing well. Hi, Instagram. So, we're going to be including a link with this video at some point. I don't know how it works. Patchouli does the magic on that. But it's a video that I saw. We were about to wrap stuff up, but I saw this video, and it was so interesting, and I just really wanted to comment on it. So, check out the link below, and it's one of my favorite Facebook channels for concrete pouring, and it shows a team pouring some concrete on a grass field that the homeowner wanted them to, instead of doing the base course, the sub base, that type of work, leveling it out, pour directly on the grass itself. And there's been both negative and positive comments. A gentleman named AJ Rodriguez, who's got a great channel, who also places a lot of concrete, said that he did it 18 years ago and didn't have a problem. But then there's a lot of naysayers on there too, that it's dropping down in integrity and all this jazz. And now I just wanted to take a different stance of, is it a problem to pour concrete directly onto your grass? Yes or no? And anyway, so let's jump right into it. I think that it can go in the no direction. If you've got a quality concrete, if you're using enough steel or enough mesh, and if you've got great operators who are consolidating the concrete, finishing it well, you got a nice thicker edge or outside edge to your slab, and then you saw cut your joints or put your cold joints in when they're supposed to be at the depths, I do think that this style or this method of placement can be successful. When I was in the military and we were pouring concrete all over the world, there were some times that we were pouring it right on the dirt, right on the grass, and as long as we use those good concrete practices, granted, it wasn't the perfect slab out there, but it wasn't a slab that cracked to ever live in hell after a few years. And that's the biggest concern. Are we going to see two things? One, efflorescence or latience, or the migration of salts to the surface, and two, are we going to see some minor or major cracking? So that's what I wanted to go into today. So the first thing is, because we're not putting a base course on there, because we're not putting a sub base, because we're not doing that preparation work, and obviously don't have a moisture vapor barrier, there's a higher chance of moisture migrating through that. I guess it would be the negative side, but basically underneath the slab, especially if there's some watering systems, if there's drip systems or sprinklers, and if you haven't really torn up the grass, you don't know if that stuff is under there. And if the homeowner turns that on when you're not there, that can cause some moisture migration issues. Even cause some leaking under the slab, even some settling. But just looking at the moisture migration issues, that can turn into moisture migrating through the bottom surface to the top surface, bringing salts with it, and you'll have that constant source of moisture and salts to create that efflorescence issue. We can't even show Whitney this video right now because you're on it. Whitney, you just missed an awesome video of somebody pouring a concrete slab right over grass.
Oh, geez.
It was awesome. So, just getting back to it, sorry, as I digress, I guess my biggest problem is you don't know what's underneath that grass. And if you look at the video itself, you can see where there's some, dips in the grass, some lower areas, and then it comes up to some higher areas, and that could just be the grass wasn't cut enough in those areas, or was cut differently, so the ground might be true, might be level. But again, that's the great thing about doing your base course, your sub base, or your under your concrete slab work, is that you're creating the environment for your greatest success. You know exactly what you're putting in there, you're consolidating it, you're getting the type of rock, the structural fill, whatever it is, but you're creating an environment where you know what's going on. With the grass, if there's, out here we get rabbit holes, we get vole holes. With all those, you can see some sinking, some settling, or, if you have some clays underneath your grass and you get a lot of moisture under it, the groundwater table comes up, it can cause those clays to expand. If you don't have enough steel, that could cause, settling issues or expansion or heaving issues, especially in winter, and that could cause major cracking. So that's the second thing. If you don't know what's underneath your slab, if you have very either soft ground or ground that changes a lot, that's where your major cracking can come out of. Now, let's say for some reason you're in a part of the world where you've got grass, and we're looking at grass, and there's not a lot of water. It's actually grass that has to be constantly watered to keep it that green, as we see, and the ground happens to be very, very hard, you might get away with it. You know, I at least got away with some scenarios not like that. Now, don't expect it to be the best slab in the world, and you should expect some issues. And as a contractor, I think unless you're signing a waiver and they can't hold you liable. I mean, somebody had said, well, somebody's going, in these different posts that somebody's going to do it. I know I'm going to do the best job. I don't know if they said I know I'm going to do the best job, but somebody's going to do it. Why not be me? And then, the answer to that is lawsuit. Or threat of a lawsuit. If somebody doesn't like it and they go to the Better Business Bureau, complain about you, and you have no proof that they signed off on this, you could be up the creek without a paddle, and next thing you know, you're paying for not only to rip it out and dispose of it, but doing the job the right way. The unfortunate reality is this is what we see in this video is not good concrete practices, and I really hope the contractor got some type of a waiver to release them of anything that happens bad with the slab because of the choices that were made by the homeowner. Would I walk away from this type of job? I personally wouldn't. I mean, it would be a challenge. I definitely would get a waiver in place, and I might have put a little bit more steel in there. I might have made the slab, I couldn't tell the thickness of the slab, maybe it was 5 or 6 inches thick. Definitely would have made those edges thicker, and I would have poured it in 2 lifts just to give it some places to move. And I might have cut the grass down a little bit shorter and done some consolidation checking for soft spots, and maybe throw some rock in the areas where there were some lower spots, just to save me on concrete that I have to back order. But outside of that, I mean, those are really the only problems that I would see with this. Again, I personally wouldn't walk away just because I like challenges. But if you have a very safe, non-risky, if you're a risk-adverse company, yeah, I would totally walk away from this job site. So.